has agreed to hold any references to waste management in the official plan until this committee has submitted its recommendation.
Okay, so I'll delay asking for.
I would, yeah, I would. I mean, we don't even know when the thing's going to roll out, so.
Okay. Item 4.3, schedule the CA for a PowerPoint presentation. At the last council meeting, Mr. Byrne gave a PowerPoint presentation on the sewage and the SDF, the collection system and the SDF. And a motion was made in council to have him present the same presentation to this week. So it's a matter of scheduling. And again, he said he knows the dates of our meeting and he knows the meeting alternative.
I'll do it the next meeting.
The next meeting? September 26th.
And we have asked that copies, actually 8x11 copies of the slides be made for the committee as well as the general public, and that the presentation be legible. It was very hard to read.
Was that the one that was presented as part of the agenda? Okay. And he's presented that to council.
He does.
Did we get that in advance of that meeting?
Gosh, I think it's on
Since
the
it's already
agenda.
there.
It's on the agenda, wasn't it?
Okay.
Yeah. So you should get it online or make sure.
All right. Good. So we could transfer it over as part of our agenda for September 26th.
You might want to make that the agenda. That could be a lengthy evening.
Okay, item 4.4, team report updates. We're going to do section 1 tonight. So section 2, Bernie, I believe you're the team leader. Tell us all what you're doing and the progress you're making in the tasks.
I think it's going to be a somewhat of an arduous task to coordinate our efforts. One of the approaches I've taken, and I've done it through an email with the other two members, is to establish a set of questions for our topics, and from those questions develop a group of answers based around the sources that we find that information. For example, from the email I forwarded the other day, what I stated was, just put that right here. What I'm asking for is that we ask the right questions. Oftentimes, you'll find if you take the right approach and you ask the right questions, you often get good answers. And for an example, from the planner's report, the staff report, which we're looking at, 16/2011, which deals with flow rates and their assumptions. There's some key points in there, and we have to have an understanding of some of those points. One being an annual capacity was recommended by Bill Boosie, one of the engineers for Dillon. We assigned per person at 351 liters for establishing capacity in the plant. So when they do a population study, they look at assigning 351 liters for each person. This is the recommendation from Dillon. On the other side, we found from Dillon that the actual usage, okay, from water rates in our community, and they agreed to this, at Crediton was 210. So there's quite a discrepancy between what we're actually using, okay, and what they're assigning as a value. Those are the kind of key points that we have to understand why this is happening, why they're assigning these values. One of the areas maybe the planner's drawn upon is the ministry has guidelines for design. And the criteria is that they fall within a series of limits. And she's using that, okay, in her document to explain where the limits would be for us, okay, in those design criteria. What we need to find out is if our actual usage, our actual water usage is so much lower than even the ministry standards, would they look at those values and say, we need to reassess, okay, how we're placing a capacity per person on this project. Okay. And they do these things because even with the design of a plant, they have to look at it as an individual. So with the design of the collection system, it has to be seen in an individual fashion as well. Our community, the uniqueness of that, our demands on the system, and so forth. I'd given a series of questions based on that kind of information, saying, how do we understand this? What can we make of this, and where does this fit into our scenario right now? As we work through it, I hope to be able to fully explain how these values can be used and what the calculations have been to do this, projections that they did in the master plan, as well as for the SDF and collection system. So some of the things for costing of the collection system, one of the things that recently happened was Blue Water had their second information center, and from that came a presentation based around some of the costing for Blue Water residents. I emailed to the rest of the committee some projections of costs that they had presented on August 20th in Zurich, in the Zurich Community Center. And the values, okay, they did it based on two systems and 3 different lot sizes. So there's a kind of you have to add up figures together. But just to give you a range, for gravity system, this is in Blue Water because we don't have any figures, accurate site figures right yet. But in Blue Water, for a large lot, okay, gravity system, they're looking at $65,900. Dylan is telling them that that's what it would cost to connect to the system. It's almost $66,000. For a low pressure grinder system in Blue Water, on a small lot, they're looking at $31,600. You might want to take this down. These values, okay, are pretty shocking when we saw this. And I'm sure the residents, there was almost, I think almost 300 people at the community center, at least the paper quoted that, I believe. And I think the people of Blue Water may be waking up to this, one of the biggest issues of this, this collection system is the costing of it.
Wait, could I ask a question?
Yeah.
Bertie, those numbers are without any grants, correct?
That's correct.
So no mention has been made yet of 2/3 funding. That those are just the standalone numbers of what it would cost to connect to.
That's correct. And that's the interesting point is Dylan attempts to qualify the Blue Water project, okay, by saying that they do not recommend the project proceed unless Blue Water receives significant funding from upper level government. Well, as long as somebody else is willing to pay for something, you know, it seems that Dylan says, let's do it. What I hope to do with my group is show a cost of benefit, as well as what are we gaining by going from our present collection system, okay, which is septic tanks on site.